game ready, steady aim at the target. I'm flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be rarer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like
Matter Money, aka Trap, and welcome to the official Sorting the Game album review of Statik Selektah's The Balancing Act. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and let's get it. Now, Statik Selektah's, worldwide famous producer out here. Put some respect on his name every time you hear his name. Made undoubtable classics out here. We're not even going to get into all of that. But this year alone, he dropped 1982 to Quarantine with Terminology. He also dropped Fresh Air with UFO Fev. You feel me? Let me know if y'all checked either one of those projects out. This right here was so crazy. Like, even from just the opening track on here, The Healing, like when you're able to open an album up with Black Thought, like it's some shit in store. Feel me? Black Thought is usually one of these features that people stray away from. They put them in the middle of the album to keep the album going. So when I seen him opening up this album with Black Thought, I was like, you know what, this shit is about to go down. And it did. Black Thought coming off of Streams of Thought 3 this year. So many features he's put out this year. You feel me? Always maintaining visibility in the game and lending his hand to real rhymers and spitters. So if you got a feature with him underneath your belt, you're actually saying something. This was really, really dope. Like, you can't even express what goes on with Black Thought when he does spit these bars. But the next track on here, Keep It Moving, featuring Nas, Joey Badass, and Gary Clark Jr. I believe he's just like singing on the hook and stuff like that. Such a dope sample, like just a live classic sample going on here, and a dope back and forth between Nas, who's coming off of King Disease, and Joey Badass, who's coming off of the Light Pack this year. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, the Light Pack is better than a lot of y'all EPs. 3 tracks better than a lot of EPs that dropped this year. But just really, really dope to see these two just go back and forth with each other against this dope ass beat. Like, yo, shit was sick. Next track on here, Play Around, featuring Conway, 2 Chainz, Killer Mike, and Alan Kingston. Conway, he's coming off of From a King to a God. You feel me? Always put down a dope verse, whatever he does. 2 Chainz coming off of So Help Me God, and Killer Mike coming off of his project with Run the Juice 4 this year. I'm gonna tell you, like, I'm be bigging up people's projects through this, because like I have to listen to the tracks itself. I'm not trying to butcher nobody's bars, and as always, like I always say that and immediately go and do that shit. So on the next track, called Hard Living, this has Dave East and Method Man on here. Method Man coming off of doing a dope verse on Conway's album Lemon. I do want to ask real quick, should we see a project from Method Man in the near future? Do we want that? He also, for my battle rap niggas out there, had a fire battle to me versus Math Hoffa. You feel me? Do we need to see a Method Man album sometime soon? See if he still got it and could do it like that. All these legends is out here putting out work from the same period of time. Busta Rhymes just dropped a major project. I think that Method Man, it's about time, it's about due. Like I said, Dave East is on here. He just dropped Karma 3, which was, that was a pretty fire project. You know how I feel about Dave East when it comes down to these things, you feel me? But he's getting better. Along the way, he's getting better. Bar here on his. I've been about stacking bundles. I get my riot on, and just like I said, those type of accolades and stuff is needed to keep somebody like Stack Bundles' name alive and just current and in the mix, because he was so impactful to a lot of people from that time period. Let's not get it twisted. Next joint on here is called Time, featuring Jack Harlow. This is a dope little cut, and like Jack Harlow, he's really talking about his relationship with Statik Selektah on here. Jack Harlow, he was on Smoke Dizz's Homegrown. He was on Problems, Coffee and Kush Volume 2. He just recently was on Frenchman Montana's Coke Boy 5 album. So he's out here doing his thing, and he had that hot ass track where everybody jumped on the remix for coming through. Like, I'm not really familiar with Jack Harlow, but from the things I've seen on these other projects, like, he's somebody that I would give a chance to. Next track on here, Watch Me, featuring Joey Badass. Like I said, he's coming off the Light Pack. This is like a live like a live, like instrumental type of thing going on here, and it shows like Joey Badass is spitting at a high level. He's spinning at a high level. Like, I can't wait for this other project for him to drop. I'm dead serious about that. Like I can't wait to see what he has in store, just coming off of that little light pack EP. Next track on here, America is Canceled, featuring Terminology, Jadakiss and Styles P. Terminology dropped a couples therapy like beat tape recently, you feel me? And then he dropped From the Barrio with Love as well. Jadakiss coming off Ignitus. Also had a big year with his verses feature with Fabulous, whatever have you. But it's Styles P on here. Styles, he dropped David Ghost, Gotcha Enthusiasm this year. But he has one of the most impactful verses where he's like going through gentrification and this process of this. So this is one of the standout tracks for me on this album. Another standout track for me on this album is No Substitute, featuring Benny the Butcher and Paul Wall. I didn't expect to see Paul Wall doing anything. I kind of gave Paul Wall little jab, you feel me, or for the artwork on Mind Over Matter, where he's like, he got pills and leans and all of this stuff on here, but this was a fire verse. He also dropped Slab Talk with Lil Kiki and Subculture this year. He's out here working on the low. Benny the Butcher, of course, coming off of Burden of Proof, you feel me, Griselda's highest charting album to date. And this is a dope track as well. Paul Wall says, no substitute for hard work, and that's the truth. Like, you feel me? Nothing comes easy. You gotta work hard for it. So I really did appreciate this track. Next track on here, Off My Mind, with Rome Streets, coming off of Noise Candy 4 and Contraband. I also just heard a snippet of his next album coming out with DJ Muggs that should be dropping in the next week or two. I'm so excited to hear this man spit, because Rome Streets, he's one of these artists I'm fully invested in at this point in time, just to keep it real with you. And also Fly Anakin is on this track. So Fly Anakin, he dropped Fly Seafood with Pink Seafood recently. At the End of the Day dropped earlier this year. A whole bunch of work coming out of the Mutant Academy. Haley Supreme is also on the hook. He dropped a project called Elsewhere this year. He's he's singing a hook and stuff like that. He works a lot on this project too. I'd like to see Rome Streets and Fly Anakin together. Two different styles, two different, Fly Anakin has one of these distinctive voices too. So to hear him just kick off a track and stuff like that, it was really, really dope to see. I really appreciate it. Next track on here, I call every track traps. You feel me? Next track on here, Welcome to the Game, featuring Marlon Craft and Coda the Friend. Now, I'm not familiar with Marlon Craft, but his verse on here, kicking this track off, will make me interested in seeing what he's about and what he has going on. Coda the Friend, Lyrics to Go Volume 1, and everything he dropped this year too. I listened to everything, you feel me, and Coda the Friend, he holds himself down. He's another artist that I really need to get into as well. Haley Supreme is on the hook on this track as well. Next track on here, Soul Custody, featuring Evidence, and Blue from Blue and Miles. So Evidence, he dropped Evidence, he was on Bodie James, The Price of Tea in China this year. Blue with Blue and Miles, you feel me. Blue and Exile, excuse me. Blue and Exile dropped Miles, which is one of the longest projects we've seen this year, other than El Capo's deluxe edition that came out. But Blue, he dropped Glitter by himself this year, Genesis, and 97 Baby too. I don't know if y'all know that, or y'all was just stuck off of Miles, but Miles is arguably one of the top projects that came out this year, for real. Just such dope work on that too. Next track on here, No More. The soul sample on here is so upbeat. I really is feeling this track. Little Fame from MOP Fame on here. He dropped at least for streaming, Neighborhood, Villain 1 and 2, Belly, The Riot. He's on Beast Mode 4, as well as we just seen him on DJ K Slay's Homage album that dropped. That review is also on the channel. Smoke Dizza on here. He's just coming off of Closed Mouth Don't Get Fed, Worldwide Smokers, Homegrown, and also just a bunch of features work out there too. He's on Frank Murphy off of West Side Gun, who made the Sunshine. Rim the Villain, he dropped a project this year called Buck. Rim the Villain, he's like, I don't know, it's crazy because he pops out here and there. You feel me? He was on 38's 1994 last year. He was also on Buck Wild's Music Is My Religion and Fully Loaded. You feel me? I need a project from Rim the Villain real soon too. The next track on here, Ralph Lauren's Closet. It's a real operatic beat. You feel me? Like an opera essence going on here with this beat. Featuring Thurston Howland the Third. And I'm like, he did his thing on here, and Statik Selektah chose to put a Sean Price verse on here as well. So, like, dog, this shit is epic. Anytime we get the chance to just see, you know, Sean Price, like, just a verse, and I'm not sure if it's a verse we already heard or anything like that, or just some unreleased track, to be honest with you, but just to close this track out, to hear Sean Price was really, really ill. You feel me? Salute, R.I.P. Sean Price, all day and tomorrow. The next track on here, Balancing Beam, and this is like three artists I'm not really familiar with. Nick Grant, he starts it off. He did his thing on here. CJ Fly, he dropped Rude Boy. That had a Conway feature on there. I ain't gonna lie to you. Also Joey Badass was on there. Chuck Strangers was on there. And I might have just heard the Conway track. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I'll go back to that. And a dude called JFK on here. I really appreciated what he brought to the table, closing this track out on the track Balancing Beam. That's one of those standout tracks to me, to be honest. Next and last track on here. Is it the last track? Well, the next track on here is called Way Up, and it's like R.I.P. remembrance track, like R.I.P. Mac Miller, Prodigy, Nipsey, Phife Dawg, Sean P, Sleaze, Guru, and Pimp C, and Bun B goes on to, you know, just say his admiration and how he reminisces and misses his boy Pimp C. You feel me? That's the same thing that Havoc does on this track with Prodigy. And I'm gonna say, like, Havoc, it's kind of personal. He keeps it real. Like, he wasn't trying to pose like their relationship was always like, you know, cookies and cream. Like, he was saying that it was always like this, that they might have had some problems, but they always performed together. They always held that type of thing down with each other. I appreciated that a lot. Just, you know, Havoc's been doing his thing too, like, you feel me, popping out here and there and putting his vocals down and stuff, and, you know, like, just legends in the game. So this was really, really ill to see them, you know, just pay homage to, you know, the fallen soldiers in the game. Next track on here, Immortal, featuring Bobby Sessions and Harley Hall. Now, Bobby Sessions, I actually like Bobby Sessions. He got a couple of projects out. He dropped this like whole series, but they came out like a couple years apart, and I ain't even gonna front the name, escapes me of it, but really, really dope coming from them. This was just like such a ill project. Like, this type of thing makes you want to see Statik Selektah work with all these people individually on real projects. Like, you know, imagine Statik Selektah Styles P album on here, or like just Statik Selektah fucking like Method Man, like any of one of these artists on here. I would love to see him just work one-on-one with, like, you feel me, Statik Selektah, Smoke DZA, as well as a whole bunch of artists that's not on this project, because what Statik Selektah does, like, he's a true, like a true OG in the game and a true marksman in the game. So he could take any one of these artists or any artist that's out right now and make some really, really dope work with it. You feel me? We all know his work with Currency and stuff like that. Arguably, like, Currency's best project came from, you feel me, him and Statik Selektah. So let me know what you think about this. Who has the hardest verse on here? What's the hardest track on here? And what's the hardest beat on here? You feel me? But I'm about to get out of here. You can follow me on Twitter and IG at Madam Money Says, SMADAMMONEYSAYS. Like, seriously, in the comments, let me know who had the standout verse on here, what's the standout track on here, and what production, like what beat that you really was fucking with off of this album, A Balancing Act. This is a real true balancing act. I ain't mad at that at all. So I'll be seeing you guys now.
Colder than judo, chop, sumo squat, not that regular, so stop comparing.